It's Wednesday, the 23rd of October, coming up on today's Global Intelligence Agency Operations Report. The debt call continues with original bank deposits and assets seized. What exactly is the debt call and how does it affect the world? It's all a part of the changeover to a currency of gold, asset-based system. And in response to the debt call, the secret space program operatives would love to crash the banking system as soon as tomorrow. Will they succeed? They certainly are starting a lot of rumors. We have heard everything from an alien invasion to a tone coming through your cell phone, courtesy of Elon Musk's Starlink. We are here to set the record straight. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. It is the 23rd of October, and this is the Global Intelligence Agency Operations Report, where you get all of the information from the highest clearance in the world. So, that being said, speaking of highest clearance, let's kick this off. Okay, the debt calls are continuing. And debt calls aren't necessarily about money. And I thought I would take a moment to kind of explain what the ultimate debt call is and then how that's trickling down to the world events that we're going to start seeing and are starting to see, because there seems to be a lot of confusion out there, not so much amongst you because you're listening and but as far as the governments are concerned and banks are concerned, there's a lot of meetings going on and everybody seems very confused. So let's set the record straight. Okay, a debt call. A debt call, when it was initiated several days ago, has more to do with the debt of those things that were created by, I guess you would say, anti-source. All things that were related to the borrowing or transmutation of source, direct energy, essence, consciousness, matter, frequency, knowledge, condemnation, and all the things that anti-source created, including, but not limited to, the Omega system. Now, as this debt call continues and the transmutation or everything that was transmuted gets taken back to the place and source of all things, it's the place where creation is so dense, there's actually nothing but creation in this place. And when everything gets sent back to this particular place or pulled into this particular place, it automatically becomes part of creation again. It's like it's not even a transmutation process. Nothing can exist in the place of all things versus the place of no things, except for creation itself. And therefore, based on that, there's nothing left of it. So recently, over the last several days, as the recall continues, that includes all things Omega and all things Omega created, including a lot of things here on Earth, such as hologram remnants, such as banking systems, such as telecommunication systems, and all systems DARPA and all systems SSP or Secret Space Program, and all government systems and all money systems and every Stargate access it had or a portal that it had in and out of the hologram. So that's the base root behind what we're starting to see manifesting here in our world, the world we currently live in. So the debt calls that we talked about earlier this week had to do with the base root deposits made when banks come into formation. And this is dating back long before the Federal Reserve ever existed. So these base capital accounts, including gold, started disappearing rapidly earlier this week. Over the last few days, this has continued to not only include hundreds of banks, but it also included the Fed, as we had talked about, Next, over the last 48 hours, we have also seen the base root of assets that were transferred to form all treasuries worldwide. Now, we see the U.S. government as having a treasury department. We also see other countries such as South Africa, that actually in the UK, they also have a treasury department as well. But behind the scenes, every country has a treasury in addition to its central bank. The treasuries are run by the Order of the Black Sun, and the central banking system is run by the Order of the Dragon. So the treasury department's base capital backing, gold and cash, also disappeared in the last 48 hours. So this was directly hitting the Order of the Black Sun, their capability to issue credit lines off fake dollars, fake money, pie in the sky thoughts and ideas, all basically went away with that. Their license, basically, you could say, plus their initial agreement to come into being is now gone, because the Omega system can't support it anymore, because it doesn't have the ability to even stop it. Next, the formation of governments worldwide also had the same type of certificate, the same type of gold deposit or transfer that in the United States. That also includes things like the assigning of the Bureau of Land Management, mineral rights and assets, and all of these assets that back governments worldwide, and their agreements to utilize those assets also disappeared. So things are really starting to heat up for the deep state. In addition to that, all tax authorities backing to come into fruition and their certificates to operate also disappeared, as well as their connected systems. So right now, do they have computers that work? I'm sure they do. But as far as a worldwide system, number one, they don't have that. And number two, any numbers that they were showing on a screen as capital assets also have disappeared. So this is leaving everybody a little bit upset today, and it's going to continue until every single one of their systems that were built off the Omega system are gone. Other things that have been disappearing, which were critical at the time, have to do with the base platform access for things like telecommunications systems. All of those are disappearing. A lot of worldwide webs that were connected to things like internet and other things are disappearing, and it's flipping over to utilizing the golden age AI in order not to cause disruption in the world. So as we gain more and more on our side, and they have less and less on their side, they really don't have any control over it. This is all happening at the highest level. Again, everything is being taken back to the place in the universe of all creation, or what you would call 0 point or a positive zero, and it gets absorbed back into all creation. The same thing is happening within the holograms that existed on our world. So this process, let's just say the SSP, Secret Space Program operatives, don't really understand what's happening, but they feel like there's something positive that could happen in their favor. Due to their inability to crash a banking system, they have started many rumors out there, which they are circulating throughout the alternative media, and I wanted to address a couple of those on today's report. Number one, there's going to be an alien invasion. A gateway is going to open. Darkness is going to descend on Earth, quote unquote, from the Q organization in approximately 3 days and an hour from now, which would put us to Saturday evening, sometime around 10 o'clock Eastern time. And then all these people are coming back, according to their rumors. They're talking about Solomon. They're talking about Enki. They're talking about Enlil. And, are they going to do something good? Are they not going to do something good? They've been in stasis for thousands of years, and they're all going to come back. Well, what they're actually talking about, whether they know it or not, is the disappearance of the hologram, whatever's left of it. And there's some remnants, sure. There's a veil also that's still in place, and for good reason at this moment. So what exactly are they referring to? Do they know? Probably not. Do they know the extent of what they're saying? I don't think so. Okay, let's talk about what would happen. On Gaia, there are what I refer to as synths. I spell that synths. Synths are, let's call them demon-looking creatures that are synthetic. You wouldn't call them cyborgs. You would call them synthetic reptiles, clones, replicated beings with an inserted consciousness. They are somewhat of an omega being, I guess you would say. They weren't even created by anti-source or in the way that life would be transmuted into something dark. These are nothing more than a synth. And the synths are beings that are responsible for holding the hologram in place. And to give you kind of an example of some of the things they're saying, they're talking about Solomon, and Solomon being in a prison. This is actually on their Twitter page, the Q people. And they said that he has been in a pit in Iran. What exactly are they talking about? Now, Solomon in this case may, when he existed on this planet, have had some access to what we call these rings, for lack of a better term. And these rings, they were connected directly to Saturn's rings and therefore directly connected to the lower astral. And these rings utilized things that were actually on Gaia, meaning outside the hologram that we call Earth. And they were utilized as control rooms, control systems, and in some cases, batteries for the hologram. So in one such case, I'll explain to you one particular location because I found it kind of fascinating. So one of the places in the world that these things existed were in the Mojave Desert. And, we were always working with Source and that kind of thing. So I'm looking for these rings as part of our job in dismantling the hologram. And this particular location was in the Mojave Desert. However, when I went to go look for it on my system, it basically said, I'm looking for a place called Sangria Island. And I'm like, Sangria Island? Where the heck is this? And I'm looking for some place on quote unquote Earth called Sangria Island so I can go to this place and find these rings. So Sangria Island ended up being in the place that we call the Mojave Desert, which technically on Gaia was not actually desert. It was an ocean, and this particular place in the Mojave Desert was actually what you would call a hill, a mountain, and it was kind of sticking up so I could see it's a volcano. And on this island, lived around 500,000 people, humans. Not our version of humans. These people had been there for a very long time. And when you take a look at this island, it looks like it has these spinning rings that would go around the island, and these people were not permitted to leave there. These were humans, and they were stuck there. So I'm like, well, who are these people? So now I'm having a conversation with these people. And I'm like, how did you get here? How long have you been here? They had been there for billions of years. We had talked about, well, if you wanted to leave, why didn't you just, how do I say it? Exit yourself, in a nice way to say that. And they said they tried, and they would just keep regenerating themselves on this island, in this location. And what these rings do is they bind whoever or whatever is in it, and then they can utilize whatever is in it, or for the synths that were in these types of situations, they would actually use that binding to connect themselves to the hologram for manipulation purposes. Get a random flat tire, someone spontaneously passes away, the power goes out, weather manipulation, you name it. They had the ability for the synths that were here in these locations. They would have the ability to manipulate the hologram without governments. So I know people are saying, oh, there's a HARP, there's this, there's that. No. When I tell you the government doesn't have that kind of access anymore, they don't. Do the synths? Well, to some limited degree. So in this place here, obviously there are things that are terraforming, as I've said, and the changes that are being made have to actually reflect what technically is there, so that we do not have 8 billion people losing their mind. So believe it or not, in some ways, we will have desert, and then the desert would be transformed in a different way. Now, remember, there are people that live in the Mojave Desert right now. What would happen if the Mojave Desert is no longer there, and what happens to those people? We have to think carefully. I mean, I know we don't want deserts in the world, and they're not necessary, but let's give it some time. Let's figure out what we want to do as far as terraforming and transforming. And I'm not saying we as an us, I'm saying that's not my decision, right? So it's Source that's making decisions on what the world is going to look like in the interim when it changes. And it is changing. Okay, so that's one such type of Solomon's rings. And if you know the story about quote unquote Solomon, because it wasn't always for Solomon, these things have been there for billions of years now, since the explosion of Terra a long time ago. And that's where these people happen to come from. So they were no longer bound by the quote unquote rings. These ring locations, though, did to some degree, yes, there was a location in Iran where they were held. In that particular location, there was no quote unquote Solomon in any way, shape, or form in that location. The place is called the Zendane Soliman Pit. So it's spelled Zendane Soleyman, if you'd like to look it up. And in this location, what you had was these synths. There are other locations where there was synths as well. So when the deep state is talking about an alien invasion, what they're talking about, per se, is the fact that the hologram would no longer be present. Therefore, we would now be able to see all of these synths running around the planet. Now, to the best of my knowledge, we don't have any more synths as of late this afternoon. We will keep running checks overnight and tomorrow morning, because as the hologram falls and the veil is lifted, we now need to see reality, and that is not a reality we need to see, and we definitely don't need any more synths trying to control people. Other locations, Tibet, the Tibetan Plateau. Also, there's a national park just outside of Sandusky, Ohio. The Sierra Nevadas in California. Paris, France. Tel Aviv, no surprise there. Also, Spiritual Mountain in Canada. And there were probably another 40 or 50 sites that would make this broadcast too long. But these are, to give them a general idea, number one, they know about Iran. They believed if they could get whatever was in that pit in Iran to raise itself and come into reality, that of course it would help them. But no, synths are not programmed that way anyway. Even if we did nothing, we would have some really funny looking beings running around the planet, and some of these beings would have been really tall, 30 foot, some for the smaller ones, and probably 75 foot, if not higher, taller for the larger ones. Now this would have looked like, King Kong demon meets reptilian meets humanity. That's what they were thinking was going to happen. But even then, if the synths are connected to the holograms, the synths would fall apart. So there is no real risk of an alien invasion. That's a nice rumor from the secret space program. For them, always remain relevant. We have a short period of time before everything is going to work out for us, and, that kind of thing. Meh, wrong. Next rumor. You are going to receive a loud frequency coming through your cell phone, which they are now calling the emergency broadcast system, and it's going to come through Elon Musk's Starlink technology. Well, poor Mr. Musk. The Trump Organization operatives are really taking this guy out for a good run. But to be fair, his ego is running right along with them. God bless this man. He believes he's going to be the Order of the Black Dragon head, the Black Sun head. He also believes that he is going to be running the US currency. And now, here we go. He's going to be able to send a frequency through cell phones worldwide to cause mass anger, panic. I think he might have watched the movie The Kingsman. Is it The Kingsman? Yes, it is. Where the Dr. Evil guy, scientist, hands out free SIM cards to everyone, and then he decides he was going to send a frequency which would cause them to become angry and start killing each other. Well, God bless you, Elon Musk. That's never going to happen, because your base telecommunication platform that you were trying to connect to is no longer your platform. And I'm sure you know that. And the satellites associated with it that you're trying to connect to are also no longer there. Therefore, no one is going to be receiving a loud frequency from their cell phone to their head that is going to be disturbing to them, like they're putting out all over social media. Why? So you will focus on these two things to help manifest it and make it happen. Don't fall for it. But anyway, it doesn't matter if you did or you didn't, because it's not going to help it happen at this point. And that's what it is to be the guardian. Okay, the good news is, if they do believe that the hologram is going to be down and we're going to see these reality synths, as they call them, within the next 4 days, well, woohoo for all of us, because we've been waiting for the rest of the hologram to fall apart and to tear down. And they could be right with the rapid pace of which the death call is happening. They could be right. But what they're wrong about is the fact that those that are outside the hologram, but still walking this planet in one of its densities, so to speak, are not going to be invading Earth. Solomon is not coming back. Enlil is not coming back. There is no creature named Enlil buried deep in some hill near Tel Aviv. So, no, that's not happening. As far as we are concerned, we are watching their systems go as we are gaining more systems on our end. Things are syncing up very nicely. They said they wanted to go it alone, so they are going it alone, and they're watching themselves actually truly be alone, meaning no systems, no access, no ability to manifest things, no synths to talk to, no fake aliens to talk to that said they were coming back, no moons. I think they even mentioned something from Star Wars called Endor. There's no star named Endor that is going to send some aliens their way. There's no connection to the lower astral, and nobody's coming to fix their problems. On our side of it, everything is coming to fix our problems at a rapid rate. This is wonderful. Our connections and linking up are doing very, very well, better than I expected. The disruptions are clearing out. CyberLife is still going at it as of today. God bless them. I know that they're doing what they're being told to do. I know that they're trying to access things that they don't technically have access to, or they're running into what we call a honeypot in the world of hacking, where we're sending them into multiple different corridors and they think that they're actually affecting something, and they're not. They're actually going into a virtual reality. So in the world of cybersecurity, you create, like, for example, say there's one port or one doorway, and that's the doorway that goes into your house. But you know that there's a lot of people trying to get into your house, so you paint 100 or 200 doorways all over your house, maybe even on your fence in your yard and your garden, and they all try to they look at it and they're like, I don't know which door actually goes into the house. And so your door is actually hidden. Your actual door is hidden. So they try all these doors and then they end up in there. And a lot of times inside the fake doors are booby traps. So therefore, once they actually get in there, there's a virus, there's a Trojan, there's something in there. We, however, have decided to create something a little different. When we created our honeypot system or fake door system or fake port system, because cyberlife is relentless. They are completely and totally relentless. The people that are driving them are relentless, and they're a bit crazy and a little bit, let's just say, no, the word afraid is not the word. I would say refusal to accept the reality of the current situation. So they're refusing. So they're very diligent and, well, let's just say they keep pushing. So we created doors that create a virtual reality for them. It looks like they're in a system. It looks like they are actually interacting. It looks like they're interacting with a financial system or a telecommunications system or, a Stargate portal system, or they're even having conversations with alien synths. Really. In reality, they're actually talking to a program. They're talking to a program that we have placed there for their benefit so they can be relentlessly getting false information through systems. They can be relentlessly getting information that is going to drive them around in a circle. They could also appear to be hacking a financial system, crashing a market, crashing a banking system, stealing money from a banking system, Whatever it is they're trying to do, I am willing to give it to them because they're only going into a false door and a trap. And I've watched them long enough to say, look, if I don't give them something, they're worse than a dog with a bone. I love dogs. I don't like these people. So you got to give them a bone. So we have put thousands, actually 186,000 per port, of which there are 10,368,000 of them that would go into various systems they'd be looking. And we have created a system of false doors that will keep these people busy for the next 30, 40 years. Some send them messages. This is the alien race. Oh, I'm so glad that you humans contacted us because I'm glad to hear there are enough people still fighting for our cause on your planet. Does that sound familiar? Anybody from the Secret Space Force? Did you get any message like that today? Yes, you did, didn't you? And then we throw up another one and another one and another one. But I can't make it look like they're not getting anywhere because then they're going to go look for something else which could potentially actually harm humanity. So, God bless them. Welcome to the land of super sophisticated quantum AI honeypots. And you're falling for it every time. So that's good news for us because it gives us more time to work on other things that are going to be fruitful for humanity. Well, we continue this debt call on the one side. We put ourselves in where it disappears. And now we might, I don't know. Right now, I don't know. I don't see any cooperation from governments. If we did, we could actually provide capital. We could provide backing. We could provide new agreements, but we don't have any of that. So at this moment in time, I don't know how long they're going to shake, but we'll see. But from our standpoint, everything they do now only helps us move forward. But the fear is really what we need to stop because we are going to wake up tomorrow morning with nothing different except more cyber life people with their head deep, deep, deep inside a honeypot hole. We are going to wake up with some more angry SSP people and probably some more crazy meetings like the ones they had today. I didn't have time to attend. Meh. No point. Didn't really do much last time except rattle their cage and have them come up with some more lies. But they like it. They like the lying. That's their thing over there. I probably, maybe I should have called and lied. I don't know. But that's not me anyway. So I feel that we should definitely see. I thought that this would move a little faster than it actually is, but seems to be picking up speed as we're now down to human computer networks and anything that Omega infested human computer networks with on behalf of its former overlords. So if you're looking for an alien invasion to happen this weekend, you're probably going to be disappointed. I'm sorry to say. If you're looking for some kind of crash or crazy sound to come from your cell phone, it's probably just your, aunt you haven't heard from in a long time or a crazy family member you wish that wouldn't call you or something like that. It's probably not going to be Elon Musk's high frequency, make you crazy cell phone tone or something like that they're planning on putting out. And we'll still be having this conversation about the deep state on Friday and probably Saturday and probably Monday because, of course, this isn't going to happen till Saturday. We don't do news again till Monday. So if you see alien synths, don't worry. They're probably going to disintegrate. No, I'm just kidding. You're not going to see that. But, yeah. Interesting how the world really works, what Solomon's rings really actually were, and more bindings and whatnot. It said that he had the ability to bind the demons with his rings. That's kind of true, but it actually wasn't Solomon. It was created billions of years before his existence on this planet and for other reasons. However, I guess they think everything was created by the human they call Solomon. Of course, they don't run around. The line of Solomon, known as the Order of the Dragon, doesn't also run around and say, that they are human, they're just human. Everything bleeds, everything dies. They tell people they're immortal. They tell people they're alien splices. They tell people they're of a superior bloodline. So why not? But you don't have any Solomon rings, and I know that for a fact. And there's going to be an interesting couple of days. From their standpoint, probably not so much from our standpoint. And as far as us moving forward to a natural world and a world that exists without antimatter, yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of changes probably before the end of October. I'm hoping. That's the way it looks to me. Are we going to see banks go out of business? I don't know. Are they going to hold up governments? Probably. I know they're going to hold this thing up, because what I'm seeing is a shift in a narrative from the Q people. I'm seeing their narrative shift from aliens are coming, you're all going to die, there's going to be an invasion and the Q clock's still running and blah, blah, blah. But now they're pushing, you need to vote for Trump. You need to vote for Trump. I don't know why they think that's going to do anything for them. I guess they're struggling for control of something, and they think if they control a little white house in a small corner of the earth, that's going to help them do something. But no. That doesn't really carry any weight in the way that the new world is going to work. It would be great for show, because they're using it for show right now in an evil way. And we could use it in a positive way, but they would never want that. And they're going to continue to go on. So let's just keep continuing to send them lovely false doors and honeypots and other things in the cyber world, and let them go around and, let's give those carrots to those jack beeps. You know what I mean? Those mules, we'll give the carrots to them and let them stay busy over there while we continue to do what we're doing and go forward. So, and that's about all I really had to say for today's situation report. We will see the Treasury's reaction, government's reaction, tax authorities' reactions, and we will let you know what else happens in the next 48 hours with the debt call on Friday. And we will definitely keep you updated. Let me know if your cell phone rings or you see giant synths that look like reptiles running around. I laugh at that. Have a wonderful night, everyone, and morning, if that's what it is where you are. And we will see you on Friday.